Hello, and welcome to a special episode of English in Fluency. I am your host, Alex, and I am so happy that you have decided to join me today. Whether you are listening to this while you are walking to work, cooking dinner, or perhaps just relaxing at home with a cup of coffee, I want you to know that you are in the right place. Today, we are going to talk about something very important. We are not just going to talk about grammar rules or lists of vocabulary words. Instead, we are going to talk about how you can change your mindset. We are going to discuss how you can stop waiting for others to teach you and how you can start taking control of your own English journey. This is about you becoming the leader of your own progress. If you have ever felt stuck, or if you feel like you are not improving fast enough, this episode is exactly what you need. So, take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let's start this journey together. Imagine for a moment that learning English is like driving a car. When you first start learning a language, usually in school or a beginner class, you are like a passenger. You are sitting in the back seat. The teacher is the driver. The teacher decides where the car goes. The teacher decides how fast the car moves. The teacher decides when to stop for a break. As a passenger, you just sit there and look out the window. It is comfortable, and you feel safe because someone else is in control. But here is the problem with being a passenger. You can only go where the driver takes you. If the driver stops, you stop. If the driver drives slowly, you arrive slowly. To really become fluent, to reach that B1 level and go even higher to B2 or C1, you have to switch seats. You need to get out of the passenger seat and sit in the driver's seat. You need to put your hands on the steering wheel. You need to press the gas pedal. This can be scary at first, but it is the only way to get to your destination. Let me tell you a story about two students to help explain this idea. Let's call them Daniel and Layla. Daniel is a very nice guy. He goes to an English class 2 times a week. He likes his teacher, and he does his homework. But outside of class, Daniel does not do much. He waits for Tuesday and Thursday to learn English. If his teacher cancels the class, Daniel is happy because he has free time. He thinks that simply going to class is enough. He is a passenger. He is waiting for the car to move. Now, let's look at Layla. Layla also goes to a class, but she does things differently. When she is not in class, she is still driving her car. She listens to podcasts like this one on her way to work. She talks to herself in the mirror when she is getting ready in the morning. If she sees a new word, she writes it down and tries to use it in a sentence immediately. Layla is the driver. She is taking control. Now, I want you to think about yourself honestly. Are you more like Daniel, or are you more like Layla? It is okay if you have been like Daniel in the past. Most people are. But today, we are going to learn how to be like Layla. We are going to learn how to take the keys to the car and drive yourself toward fluency. The first step to taking control is to stop being afraid of making mistakes. When you drive a car for the first time, you might make a small mistake. Maybe you turn too fast, or you brake too hard. That is normal. In English, mistakes are just like that. They are not failures. They are just part of learning how to drive. Many students tell me that they are afraid to speak because they do not want to sound foolish. They are waiting until their English is perfect before they speak. But think about this logic. If you wait until you are perfect to speak, you will never speak, because speaking is the only way to become perfect. You have to speak with mistakes today so you can speak correctly tomorrow. I want you to try a small exercise with me right now. I want you to say a sentence out loud. If you are on a bus or a train, you can say it quietly in your head. But if you are alone, say it with a strong voice. Repeat after me. I am in control of my English. Go ahead, say it. I am in control of my English. Good. Now let's try one more. Say this. My mistakes help me learn. Say it again. My mistakes help me learn. Excellent. This is the mindset of a driver. You accept the bumps in the road and you keep moving forward. Taking control also means creating your own environment. You do not need to live in an English-speaking country to surround yourself with English. You can build an English world right in your own bedroom or living room. Think about your phone. What language is your phone set to? If it is in your native language, change it to English today. It is a small change, but every time you look at your phone, you will see English. Think about the things you watch on the internet. Do you watch videos in your own language? Try to switch. Find a topic you love, maybe cooking, or football, or fashion, and watch videos about that topic in English. When you do this, you are not studying. You are just living your life, but you are doing it in English. This is called immersion, and it is a powerful tool for the driver. Let's talk about another important part of driving your own progress, which is consistency. A driver does not just drive for 20 hours on one day and then not drive for a month. That is not how you get better. You need to drive a little bit every day. It is better to practice English for 15 minutes every day than to study for 5 hours only on Sunday. Your brain needs time to absorb information. It is like watering a plant. If you pour a bucket of water on a plant once a month, the plant will die. But if you give it a little water every morning, it will grow strong and healthy. I want to introduce you to a technique that can help you practice speaking even when you have no one to talk to. This technique is called shadowing. Shadowing is very simple, but very effective. You listen to a native speaker, like me, and you repeat exactly what I say, exactly how I say it. You try to copy my speed, my emotion, and my pauses. Let's try a little bit of shadowing right now. I am going to say a sentence, and I want you to repeat it immediately after me. Try to match my voice. Here is the sentence. I practice English every single day. Now you try. I practice English every single day. Let's try a longer one. Listen carefully. Learning a language is a journey, not a race. Now you say it. Learning a language is a journey, not a race. When you do this, you are training your mouth muscles. You are teaching your brain how English feels. You can do this with any podcast or video. You do not need a teacher to do this. You can do it by yourself, anywhere, anytime. Another great way to take control is to keep a journal. But this is not just any journal. This is your English success journal. Every evening before you go to sleep, write down 3 sentences in English about your day. They do not have to be complex sentences. You can write simple things like, "Today, I went to the market," or "I felt tired after work." The act of writing helps you organize your thoughts. It forces your brain to think in English. Over time, you will see that your sentences become longer and more detailed. You will look back at the first page of your journal and see how much you have improved. This is evidence of your progress. When you are the driver, you need to check the map to see how far you have traveled. Your journal is your map. Sometimes the road will get difficult. You might feel like you are not moving forward. This is called a plateau. It feels like you are studying and studying, but your English is staying the same. Do not panic. This happens to every single language learner in the world. It is a normal part of the journey. When this happens, do not stop driving. Instead, change the route. If you are tired of reading textbooks, stop reading textbooks. Listen to music instead. If you are bored with grammar drills, stop doing grammar drills. Watch a movie instead. The most important thing is that you do not quit. You just need to find a new way to enjoy the language. Remember, you are the boss. You are the leader. If a method is boring for you, change it. You have the power to make your learning fun. Now that we have established the mindset of a driver, let's look at the specific tools you need to drive this car effectively. You have the steering wheel, and you have the motivation. But now you need a map. We are going to look at the engines of your progress, starting with active listening. Many students tell me that they listen to English all the time, but they do not feel like they are improving. They say, "Alex, I listen to English music for 3 hours a day, but I still cannot understand a movie." The reason for this is usually passive listening. Passive listening is like having the radio on in the background while you are cleaning the house. You hear the noise, you hear the rhythm, but your brain is not really working to understand the meaning. It is just background noise. To be the driver, you need to switch to active listening. Active listening is hard work. It requires focus. It means you are not doing anything else. You are just listening. I want to teach you a very powerful method called the 3-pass technique. This is a method you can use with any short audio clip, like a minute of news, a scene from a movie, or a part of a podcast. You do not do this with a whole hour of audio, just a small piece. Here is how it works. On the first pass, you listen only for the main idea. Do not worry about specific words you do not know. Just ask yourself, what are they talking about? Are they happy or sad? Is this about sports or politics? This gives you the big picture. Then, you listen a second time. This is the detail pass. Now, you are like a detective. You are listening for specific words. If you hear a word you do not know, pause the audio. Write it down. Try to guess what it means from the context. Rewind and listen to that sentence again. This is where the real learning happens. You are forcing your brain to decode the sounds. Finally, you listen a third time. This time, you can read the transcript or subtitles if you have them. This confirms what you heard. When you do this, you are training your ears to catch the sounds that you usually miss. It is much better to listen to 1 minute of audio 3 times than to listen to 30 minutes of audio 1 time without understanding it. Let us try a very short experiment with active listening right now. I am going to tell you a short story about a man named Marco. I want you to listen for the main idea. Here is the story. Marco loved to cook Italian food, but he had a problem. He could not find fresh basil in his city during the winter. So, he decided to buy a special lamp and grow the basil inside his kitchen cupboard. Now, think about the main idea. The main idea is that Marco found a solution to grow herbs indoors. Now, listen again for a detail. What season was it in the story? I said, during the winter? Did you catch that? This is active listening. You are hunting for information. When you practice this way, you stop being a passive observer, and you become an active participant. Now, let's move on to another engine of your progress, which is vocabulary. The old way of learning vocabulary is like collecting stones. You find a list of 100 common words and you try to memorize them. Dog, cat, table, chair. The problem is that these words have no connection to your life. They are just heavy stones in your pocket. You carry them for a few days, and then you drop them because they are too heavy and not useful. I want you to stop collecting stones and start planting a garden. A vocabulary garden is different. In a garden, you plant things that you want to eat or things that you think are beautiful. You should do the same with English words. You need to learn the words that are relevant to your specific life. If you are a nurse, you do not need to learn the vocabulary of a mechanic right now. You need words like patient, medicine, bandage, and health. If you love football, you need words like goal, referee, stadium, and match. When you learn words that are connected to your passion, your brain remembers them much faster because your brain likes things that are useful. Let me introduce you to another character. Her name is Elena. Elena is a student, just like you. She tried to learn English by reading the dictionary. It was boring, and she quit after 1 week. Then she remembered that she loves makeup and beauty. She started watching makeup tutorials on YouTube in English. She learned words like brush, blend, foundation, and skin tone. She learned these words instantly because she cared about them. She was planting her own garden. Today, Elena speaks English very well because she started with what she loved. I want you to take a piece of paper and write down 3 topics that you love. Maybe it is gardening, maybe it is video games, maybe it is history. Your homework for this week is to find 5 new words related to those topics. Do not learn the words I tell you to learn. Learn the words you want to learn. This is what it means to take control. Another important part of leading your own progress is learning how to ask questions. In many cultures, students are taught to be quiet and listen to the teacher. But in English, and especially when you are the driver, you need to be curious. If you are talking to a native speaker or a practice partner, and you do not understand something, do not pretend to understand. Many students just smile and nod their heads because they are embarrassed. But when you nod your head without understanding, you miss an opportunity to learn. It is very powerful to say, "I am sorry, I did not catch that. Could you please rephrase it?" Or, "What does that word mean?" When you ask a question, you are taking control of the conversation. You are saying, "I want to understand this." Let's also talk about the voice inside your head. We all have an internal monologue. Usually, your internal voice speaks in your native language. You think, "I am hungry," or "I need to go to the bank," in your own language. A huge step in taking control is to switch that voice to English. This is difficult at first, but it is free, and you can do it anywhere. You do not need to speak out loud. You just need to think. When you wake up, think, "Today is a beautiful day." When you look at the clock, think, "It is almost time for lunch." If you do not know a word for something you are thinking about, that is a golden moment. That is a gap in your knowledge. Later, when you have time, look up that word. This way, you are filling the gaps in your daily life. To help you cross the plateau we spoke about earlier, you need to track your progress differently. Do not measure your English by how many mistakes you make. Measure it by what you can do. Can you order a coffee in English? Check. Can you understand a YouTube video with subtitles? Check. Can you explain your job to a stranger? Check. These are functional goals. They are real-life achievements. Write these achievements down. When you feel discouraged, read your list of achievements. You will see that you have traveled a very long way. There is a concept I love called the 1% rule. It says that you do not need to improve by 100% in a day. You just need to improve by 1%. 1% is tiny. It is learning one new phrase. It is listening to English for 5 minutes. It is writing one sentence in your journal. If you improve by 1% every day, by the end of the year, the compound effect is massive. You will be 37 times better than when you started. But if you do nothing, you stay the same. So, do not look for magic miracles. Look for that 1%. I want you to think about your English routine. Be honest. Is your routine boring? If it is boring, you will stop. You are the boss of your routine. If you do not like reading books, do not read books. Listen to audiobooks instead. If you do not like news, do not watch the news. Watch comedy. I want you to make a promise to yourself right now. Promise that you will remove one boring thing from your study plan and replace it with one fun thing. English should not be a punishment. It should be a hobby. Let's imagine a scenario. You are at a bus stop and you see a tourist who looks lost. They are looking at a map and looking confused. In the past, maybe you would look away because you were afraid to speak. But now, you are the driver. You know that this is an opportunity. You walk over and you say, "Excuse me, can I help you?" The tourist smiles and asks for directions. You explain, "Go straight and turn left." You make a grammar mistake. Maybe you say, "Turn left in the street," instead of "turn left at the street." Does it matter? No. The tourist understands you. They say thank you. You communicated. You helped someone. That feeling of connection is the true reward of learning a language. It is not about a test score. It is about connecting with human beings. As we continue on this journey, you must also be careful of comparison. In the age of social media, it is very easy to see other people speaking perfectly and feel bad about yourself. You see a video of someone who says they learned English in 3 months. First of all, do not believe everything you see on the internet. Secondly, their journey is not your journey. Maybe they had more time. Maybe they lived in the US. Maybe they are just good at mimicking sounds. It does not matter. You are driving your car. They are driving their car. If you look at their car, you will crash yours. Keep your eyes on your own road. Compare yourself only to who you were yesterday. I want to give you a specific challenge for the next few days regarding your speaking. We call this the 2-minute speech. Find a quiet place. Pick a simple topic, like my best friend or my favorite holiday. Set a timer on your phone for 2 minutes. Hit start and speak. Do not stop. If you cannot find a word, explain around it. Use your hands. Just keep the flow going. When the timer stops, take a deep breath. You did it. The first time you do this, it will be hard. You might pause a lot. But if you do this every day for a week, you will see a huge difference. You will become more fluid. Your brain will get used to searching for words under pressure. Moving forward, we need to tackle one of the biggest obstacles that stands in the way of every student. That obstacle is time, or rather, the feeling that we do not have enough time. I hear this excuse every single day. Students tell me, "Alex, I would love to be the driver of my progress, but I work 10 hours a day. I have children. I have a house to clean. I am too tired. I understand this completely." Modern life is very busy and very fast, but I want to tell you a secret. You do not need more time to learn English. You just need to use your time differently. We often think that studying means sitting at a desk with a book and a pen for 1 hour. If we do not have an hour, we do nothing. This is the wrong approach. This is the passenger approach. The driver knows that the car can move forward even on short trips. Let me introduce you to a concept called hidden time. Hidden time is the time that disappears in your day without you noticing. It is the 5 minutes you spend waiting for the bus. It is the 10 minutes you spend washing the dishes. It is the 15 minutes you spend scrolling through social media before you fall asleep. These little moments are gold. If you add them all up, you might find that you have 1 or 2 hours of hidden time every day. The key to taking control is to fill these hidden moments with English. Let me tell you about a student named Sarah. Sarah is a mother of 3 children, and she works full-time in a busy office. She is exhausted. She told me she had 0 time to study. So, we looked at her day. We found that she spends 20 minutes driving her kids to school. We found that she spends 30 minutes cooking dinner every evening. We found that she spends 10 minutes folding laundry. So, Sarah made a change. Now, when she drives the kids, she plays English songs and they all sing together. When she cooks dinner, she listens to a podcast like this one. When she folds laundry, she talks to herself in English about her plans for the tomorrow. She did not add any extra hours to her day. She just changed the soundtrack of her life. She turned her hidden time into learning time. You can do the exact same thing. Now, let's talk about technology. We are so lucky to live in this era. You have a supercomputer in your pocket. Your smartphone is the most powerful tool for learning English that has ever existed, but only if you use it correctly. Most people use their phones to waste time. I want you to use your phone to build your future. One of the best tools on your phone is the voice recorder. Every phone has one. I want you to use it to become your own teacher. Here is a challenge for you. It is called the Daily Record. At the end of your day, open your voice recorder app. Record yourself speaking for just 1 minute about what you did that day. Do not worry about grammar. Do not worry if you pause. Just speak. Save the recording with the date. Do this every day for 30 days. On day 30, go back and listen to the recording from day 1. You will be shocked. You will hear how much your confidence has grown. You will hear that your pauses are shorter. This is audible proof of your progress. It is also very useful because when you listen to your own voice, you can hear your mistakes much better than when you are speaking. You might hear yourself say, "He go to the store," and you will think, "Wait, that sounds wrong. It should be, he goes to the store." You will correct yourself. That is the moment you become a true independent learner. Another way to use technology is to change your digital environment. We talked about changing your phone language, but let's go further. Look at your social media feed. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. Who do you follow? If you only follow people who speak your native language, you are staying in your comfort zone. I want you to follow 5 accounts that teach English, or 5 accounts about your hobbies that are in English. If you like cooking, follow an American chef. If you like fashion, follow a British model. When you open your phone to relax, you will see English content mixed in with your normal content. You are tricking your brain into learning while you are relaxing. This is a very smart way to drive your car without using extra gas. Let's move on to a deeper topic. Let's talk about the fear of judgment. This is the passenger's biggest fear. Passengers are afraid that if they try to drive, people will laugh at their bad driving. In language learning, we are afraid that if we speak with an accent or make a grammar mistake, people will think we are not smart. I want to tell you something very important. An accent is not a bad thing. An accent is a sign of bravery. It means you are smart enough to speak 2 languages. It means you are stepping out of your comfort zone. Native speakers are usually very impressed when someone makes the effort to speak their language. They are not judging your grammar. They are listening to your message. However, sometimes the person judging you the most is you. We are our own worst critics. You might say a sentence perfectly, but then you make one small mistake with a preposition, and you beat yourself up. You tell yourself, "Oh, my English is terrible." This negative self-talk must stop. It is like driving a car with the handbrake on. It slows you down and damages the engine. You need to be your own best friend. When you make a mistake, I want you to change your reaction. Instead of saying, "I am stupid," I want you to say, "That was interesting. I need to practice that." Be kind to yourself. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. You cannot run a marathon if you are hitting yourself on the leg every step of the way. To help with this confidence, let's practice some intonation. Intonation is the music of the language. Sometimes students speak like robots. They say every word with the same strength. I am going to the store. This is hard to understand, and it feels unnatural. English is a language of hills and valleys. We go up and we go down. Usually, the important words are at the top of the hill. Let's practice this. Listen to this sentence. I didn't say he stole the money. This is a famous sentence because the meaning changes depending on which word you stress. If I stress the first word, it sounds like this. I didn't say he stole the money. This means someone else said it, not me. Now let's stress the word say. I didn't say he stole the money. This implies maybe I wrote it, or I hinted at it, but I didn't speak it. Now let's stress the word he. I didn't say he stole the money. This means I think someone else stole it. You see? The words are the same, but the music changes the meaning. Being the driver means you control the music. I want you to try this. Say the sentence. I love learning English. Now say it stressing the word love. I love learning English. Now say it stressing the word English. I love learning English. Can you feel the difference? Play with the language. It is an instrument, and you are the musician. Let's talk about reading. Reading is fuel for your car. But many students choose the wrong fuel. They try to read Shakespeare or complex newspapers, and they get frustrated. They look up every second word in the dictionary. This is painful. This is not driving. This is pushing the car uphill. To take control, you need to find materials that are at your level or just a little bit above. We call this comprehensible input. You should understand about 70 or 80% of the words on the page. If you understand everything, it is too easy. If you understand nothing, it is too hard. You want to be in the zone where you can guess the meaning of new words from the context. I highly recommend looking for graded readers. These are books that are written specifically for language learners at different levels. You can find exciting stories, romance, thrillers, and biographies written in B1 English. When you read a book and you actually finish it, You feel a huge sense of accomplishment. You think, wow, I just read a whole book in English. That feeling is addictive. It makes you want to read another one. And remember, reading helps your speaking. When you read, you see correct grammar structures over and over again. Your brain starts to absorb them naturally. You will find that when you speak, these structures will just come out of your mouth without you thinking about them. We have covered so much already, but to truly succeed in the long term, we need to talk about sustainability. One of the biggest dangers for a new driver is burnout. Burnout is when you push yourself too hard, and suddenly, you just want to stop. I have seen this happen so many times. Let me tell you about a student named Kenji. Kenji was very excited to learn English. He decided he was going to study for 4 hours every single day. For 2 weeks, he was amazing. He learned hundreds of words. He studied grammar all night. But in the 3rd week, Kenji started to feel tired. He started to hate opening his books. By the 4th week, he quit completely. He burned out because he was treating English like a sprint, not a marathon. You must remember that rest is also part of the work. If you drive a car for 24 hours without stopping, the engine will overheat and break. Your brain is the engine. It needs time to cool down. It needs sleep to process what you have learned. So, do not feel guilty if you take a day off. Actually, I want you to schedule your rest. Maybe Sunday is your no English day. That is perfectly fine. When you come back on Monday, your brain will be fresh and hungry for more. Being the driver means knowing when to speed up, but also knowing when to slow down. Now, let's talk about something that makes language learning much more colorful and interesting. That thing is culture. Language is not just a code or a set of mathematical rules. Language is the history, the food, the humor, and the soul of the people who speak it. If you only study the grammar, you are looking at the skeleton, but you are missing the heart. To really take control and stay motivated, you need to connect with the culture. I encourage you to try something different this week. Do not just study English, experience the English-speaking world. Try cooking a recipe from an English-speaking country. Maybe you can try to make American pancakes or a British shepherd's pie. Find a recipe on YouTube in English and follow it. When you are cooking, you are smelling the food, you are tasting the flavors, and you are hearing the instructions. This creates a deep emotional memory. When you eat those pancakes, you will remember the words flour, milk, and frying pan much better than if you just read them on a flashcard. Another way to connect with culture is through humor. Humor is very hard in a second language, but it is also very rewarding. When you understand a joke in English, it feels like you have unlocked a secret door. I suggest you watch some short clips of stand-up comedy or a funny sitcom. At first, you might not understand why people are laughing. That is okay. Do not get frustrated. Be curious. Ask yourself, why is this funny? Is it a play on words? Is it a cultural reference? When you start to understand the humor, you stop translating in your head, and you start feeling the language. We have talked a lot about being an independent learner, about being the driver. But even a driver needs other cars on the road. You do not have to be lonely. Taking control of your progress also means building your own community. In the past, you had to go to a classroom to find other students. Today, the world is your classroom. You can find partners online. You can join communities of learners who are just like you. But here is a word of caution. Choose your community wisely. Surround yourself with positive people. There are some places online where students just complain about how hard English is. Stay away from those places. Find a group where people celebrate their wins. Find a partner who wants to practice speaking, not just complain. If you cannot find a partner right away, you can still interact. When you watch a video on YouTube, leave a comment in English. When you see a post on Instagram, write a reply. These small interactions make you feel like you are part of a global conversation. You are not just a student in a room. You are a citizen of the English-speaking world. Now, I want to ask you a very deep question. Why are you doing this? Why are you spending your time listening to me? Every driver needs a destination. If you do not have a destination, you will just drive in circles until you run out of gas. Your why is your destination. Is it because you want a better job to support your family? Is it because you want to travel and see the world? Is it because you fell in love with someone who speaks English? I want you to dig deep. I want to speak English is not a strong enough reason. I want to speak English so I can give my children a better life is a very strong reason. When the road gets dark, and when you feel tired, and when you feel like you are not improving, you need to look at your why. It will give you the energy to keep going. I suggest you write your why on a piece of paper and stick it on your bathroom mirror. Look at it every morning. Remind yourself that this hard work has a purpose. Welcome to the next phase of our masterclass. I am incredibly impressed that you are still listening. By staying with me this long, you have proven that you are not just a casual learner. You are a serious student who is ready to go beyond the basics. We have talked about the mindset of the driver. We have talked about listening and vocabulary, and we have talked about motivation. Now, we need to talk about the quality of your driving. It is one thing to drive a car. It is another thing to drive it smoothly, elegantly, and professionally. In this session, we are going to focus on how to turn your robotic sentences into fluid, natural storytelling. We are going to unlock the secrets of why native speakers sound so fast, and we are going to learn how to express deep emotions in English. Let's start with the art of storytelling. Human beings love stories. It is how we connect with each other. When you meet a friend, you do not just give them a list of facts. You do not say, "I woke up, I ate eggs, I went to work." That is boring. That is a list, not a conversation. To be a great driver, you need to learn how to weave your sentences together into a story. To do this, you need a special set of tools called connectors, or linking words. These are the bridges between your ideas. Words like suddenly, unfortunately, however, and eventually are the spice that makes your story tasty. Let me give you an example. Listen to this version of a story first. I went to the airport. I forgot my passport. I went home. I missed my plane. This is correct English, but it sounds like a robot. Now, let's use the tools of a storyteller. Listen to this version. I went to the airport, but unfortunately, I realized I had forgotten my passport. Consequently, I had to rush back home. By the time I returned, the gate was closed, and sadly, I missed my plane. Can you feel the difference? The second version has emotion. It has flow. It takes the listener on a journey. I want you to practice this right now. Think about something that happened to you yesterday. It can be something very small, like making coffee or catching a bus. I want you to tell that story in your head, but you must use three specific words: first, then, and finally. For example, first, I boiled the water. Then I realized I was out of coffee beans. Finally, I decided to drink tea instead. This simple structure organizes your thoughts. When you use linking words, you sound more intelligent and more fluent instantly. You are guiding the listener through your experience. Now, let's tackle a mystery that frustrates almost every English learner: the mystery of the fast native speaker. You might study English for years, but when you watch a Hollywood movie, you cannot understand anything. You think, why are they speaking so fast? I have a secret for you. They are not speaking fast. They are connecting their speech. In English, we do not pronounce every word separately like bricks on a wall. We melt the words together like a river flowing. This is called connected speech. For example, look at the phrase, "Do you want to go?" A native speaker almost never says it like that. We say, "Do you wanna go?" We mash the sounds together. "Do you" becomes "ju." "Want to" becomes "wanna." If you are listening for "do you want to," you will miss it. You need to train your ears to hear "ju wanna." Let's try another one. I am going to. We say, "Imma." I'm gonna go. This is not lazy English. This is efficient English. It is how the engine of the language runs smoothly. To practice this, you do not need to speak exactly like a native, but you need to understand it. I want you to try an exercise called the backwards build-up. Take a sentence that is hard to say, like, "What are you doing?" Instead of trying to say the whole thing, start at the end. Say, "doing." Now add the word before it. You doing. Now add the next part. Are you doing? Now the start. What are you doing? But say it quickly. What you doing? When you practice backwards, you stop your brain from analyzing every single word, and you focus on the rhythm. This will help your listening incredibly. When you know how the words connect, you will suddenly start hearing them everywhere in movies and songs. Let's move deeper into the territory of feelings. Emotional intelligence in English is the difference between a B1 speaker and a C1 speaker. As a beginner, you usually say, "I am happy," or "I am sad." But human emotions are complex. Happy is a very small word. If you get a promotion at work, you are not just happy, you are thrilled. If you lose your keys, you are not just sad, you are frustrated. If you work for 12 hours, you are not just tired, you are exhausted. Expanding your emotional vocabulary allows you to connect with people on a deeper level. If a friend tells you they lost their job and you say, "That is bad," it sounds cold. But if you say, "That must be devastating. I am so sorry," you are showing real empathy. You are using the car to drive towards their heart. I want you to pick one emotion today. Let's pick angry. Go to your dictionary or Google and find 3 synonyms for angry. You might find furious, annoyed, or upset. Write them down. Next time you feel angry, ask yourself, am I just annoyed or am I furious? Be precise. This precision makes you a master of the language. Now, I want to talk about a very specific feeling that many of you have. It is called the imposter syndrome. This is when you are in a meeting at work or at a party with English speakers and you feel like a fraud. You feel like everyone knows your English is not perfect. You are afraid to open your mouth because you think you do not belong there. I want to tell you something. Even native speakers feel this way sometimes. Confidence is not about knowing everything. Confidence is about being okay with not knowing everything. If you are in a meeting and you do not know a word, do not panic. Do not freeze. Use your driver skills to navigate around the obstacle. You can say, I am not sure of the exact word in English, but it is similar to, and then describe it. Or simply ask, how do you say, vividly describing the object or action. This is not a failure. It is a communication strategy. People respect those who try to communicate more than those who stay silent. Your ideas are valuable. Your experience is valuable. Do not let the language barrier stop you from sharing your brilliant ideas. Your English is just the delivery truck. The valuable cargo is your thoughts. Let's switch gears and talk about politeness and social nuance. In some cultures, it is okay to be very direct. You might say, give me the salt. But in English, especially in the UK and the US, this can sound very rude. We love to use softeners. We do not like to give direct orders. Instead of, give me the salt, we say, could you possibly pass the salt? Instead of saying, no, I disagree, we say, I see your point, but I think I see it differently. Learning these softeners is like putting oil in your engine. It prevents friction between people. If you want to sound more advanced, stop using direct imperatives. Don't say, open the window. Say, would you mind opening the window? It means the same thing, but the feeling is completely different. It shows respect. I want you to practice this transformation. Take a direct command like, wait here. Now, make it polite. Could you please wait here? Or, would you mind waiting here? This small change changes how people perceive you. They will see you as a polite, sophisticated speaker, regardless of your grammar mistakes. We have spoken about the English persona before, but I want to go deeper. Adopting a persona is a psychological trick. When you speak your native language, you have a history. You have memories of being a child, of being a student. You have a specific personality. When you speak English, you are free from that history. You can reinvent yourself. If you are usually shy, your English persona can be loud. If you are usually serious, your English persona can be funny. I had a student named Paulo. In his native language, Portuguese, he was very quiet and reserved. But when he spoke English, he pretended he was a New York taxi driver. He spoke louder, he used his hands, and he was full of energy. He told me that English Paulo was a different guy. This helped him overcome his fear because if he made a mistake, it wasn't Paulo making the mistake, it was the character. Try this. Give your English persona a name. Maybe it is the English version of your name. If your name is Juan, maybe your persona is John. When you switch to English, become John. John is brave. John makes mistakes and laughs. John is the driver. Let's talk about the trap of translation. When you are a passenger, you translate everything. You hear a sentence in English, you stop, you translate it into your language. You think of an answer in your language, you translate it back to English, and then you speak. This is too slow. It is like driving with the emergency brake on. You need to learn to think in images, not words. When I say the word apple, do not think of the word for apple in your language. I want you to see a red, round, crunchy fruit in your mind. Connect the English word directly to the image. You can practice this simply. Look around your room right now. Point to an object. Look at a lamp. Do not say the word in your language. Just say, lamp. Look at the window. Say, window. Do this quickly. Point and name. Point and name. You are bypassing your native language. You are building a direct highway between the concept and the English word. When you do this enough, you will start to dream in English. That is a magical moment. Another advanced strategy for the determined driver is paraphrasing. This is the spare tire in your car. Sometimes you will get a flat tire. You will forget a word completely. You are in the middle of a sentence, and the word for umbrella is gone. You cannot remember it. A passenger stops the car and gives up. A driver uses the spare tire. You paraphrase. You describe the object. You say, "You know, the thing you hold over your head when it rains to stay dry." The listener will say, "Oh, an umbrella," and the conversation continues. You should practice paraphrasing. It is a game you can play with yourself. Pick an object, like a refrigerator. Now imagine you cannot say the word refrigerator. How would you describe it? The cold machine in the kitchen, where we keep food fresh. This skill is actually more important than having a huge vocabulary. If you can describe anything, you can communicate anything, even if you do not know the exact word. This is true fluency. Fluency is the ability to keep going. As we add these advanced layers to your driving skills, you are becoming a professional. You are no longer just trying to survive on the road. You are navigating with style. But remember, all of this takes time. Do not try to master all these things today. Pick one. Maybe this week, you just focus on linking words. Next week, you focus on being polite. Learning a language is like building a house. You lay the bricks one by one. If you try to build the roof before the walls, the house will fall down. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate the small wins. Did you use a new connector today? That is a win. Did you understand a fast sentence in a movie? That is a win. These wins are the fuel that keeps you going. I want to touch on one final very important aspect before we move to the professional section. That is the concept of input versus output. Many students spend 90% of their time on input. They listen to podcasts, they read books, they watch videos. This is great. You need fuel. But you cannot learn to drive just by reading a manual. You have to drive. You need output. Output is speaking and writing. You must balance your diet. If you listen for 30 minutes, I want you to speak for 5 minutes. It doesn't matter who you speak to. Speak to the wall. Speak to your cat. Speak to your phone. But you must produce language. The muscles in your face need to move. The neural pathways in your brain need to fire in the production direction, not just the reception direction. Make a rule for yourself. No input without output. If you watch a YouTube video, write a comment. If you listen to a podcast, summarize it out loud. Always create something from what you have consumed. We are moving further down the road of your fluency journey. If you are still listening, you are demonstrating the exact quality that guarantees success, which is persistence. In this section, I want to talk about a specific area where many of you might feel the most pressure. That area is using English at work. This is where the stakes feel high. You are not just chatting with a friend, you are speaking to your boss, or a client, or a colleague. You might be afraid that making a mistake will cost you money or respect. But I have some good news for you. Business English is actually easier than casual English. Think about it. When you are at a party, you can talk about anything. You might talk about the moon, or philosophy, or a funny cat video. The vocabulary is infinite. But in a business meeting, the topics are limited. You talk about budgets, deadlines, projects, and emails. The vocabulary is much smaller. You can predict what people will say. This is a huge advantage for the driver. You can prepare your map before you start the engine. Let's look at the business meeting scenario. This is the nightmare for many students. You sit there, sweating, hoping nobody asks you a question. But you can survive and thrive in a meeting with just a few magic phrases. You do not need perfect grammar. You just need to know how to enter and exit the conversation. For example, if you want to agree with someone, do not just nod your head. Say, "I totally agree with that point." If you want to interrupt because you have an idea, do not just start talking. Use a polite entry phrase like, "May I add something here?" or "I would like to comment on that." These phrases act like turn signals on a car. They let other drivers know what you are going to do. I want you to practice a specific technique for meetings called the summary strategy. If you are in a meeting and you are not sure if you understood everything, do not stay silent. Wait for a pause, and then say, "Let me just check if I understood correctly." You are saying that, and then summarize what you heard in your own simple words. This is a genius move. First, it gives you a chance to speak. Second, it shows that you are listening carefully. Third, if you are wrong, the other person will correct you politely, and you will learn. You turn a moment of confusion into a moment of connection. Now, let's shift gears to another challenge. Accents. English is a global language. It does not belong to England or America anymore. It belongs to the world. You might be used to listening to my voice, which is clear and standard. But what happens when you have to speak to someone from Scotland, or India, or Australia, or South Africa? You might panic because the sounds are different. The rhythm is different. Here is the secret to handling different accents. Exposure. If you only drive on smooth, flat roads, you will not know what to do on a bumpy mountain road. You need to drive in different conditions. I challenge you to diversify your listening. Do not just listen to English teachers. Go to YouTube and search for Australian news or Indian technology review. Listen to how they pronounce the vowels. Listen to where they put the stress. At first, it will be hard, but your brain is an amazing pattern-matching machine. After a few hours, your brain will adjust the dial, and the static will clear up. Do not complain that they speak weirdly. No, they just speak differently. Be a curious driver who enjoys all types of scenery. Let's talk about the spice of the language. Idioms and phrasal verbs. Many students are obsessed with idioms. They want to learn 5 idioms a day. They walk into a room and say, "It is raining cats and dogs," because they read it in a textbook from 1950. I have to be honest with you. Native speakers do not use that phrase anymore. If you use old or strange idioms, you sound like a textbook, not a person. However, modern idioms are very useful. They add flavor. But like spice in a soup, you should use them sparingly. If you put too much chili in the soup, it becomes inedible. If you use an idiom in every sentence, nobody will understand you. Learn the high-frequency idioms. For example, to be on the same page. This means we agree and have the same understanding. This is perfect for business. We need to make sure we are on the same page. Another good one is to get the ball rolling. This means to start a project. Let's have a meeting to get the ball rolling. These are natural, useful, and professional. I want to integrate a practice prompt here regarding phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are verbs with a small particle, like give up, look for, or run out of. These are the engine oil of English. Native speakers prefer them over formal words. We prefer give up instead of quit. We prefer look for instead of seek. I want you to pick one phrasal verb today. Let's pick figure out. This means to solve a problem or understand something. Instead of saying, I solved the problem, practice saying, I figured it out. Say it 3 times. I figured it out. We need to figure out a solution. Can you help me figure this out? This small switch makes you sound much more native. Now, let us address a psychological barrier, the intermediate plateau. We talked about the plateau before, but let's look at it from a B2 perspective. When you are a beginner, you learn cat, dog, house. You learn 100% new things every day. But when you are at an intermediate level, you already know the most common words. You understand 80% of what I say. The problem is the last 20%. This last 20% takes a long time. It feels like you are working hard for very small gains. This is the danger zone where many drivers quit. They think, I am good enough, I can survive, and they stop growing. To break through this advanced plateau, you need to change your fuel. You need to consume content that is made for native speakers, not for learners. Stop watching English learning videos and start watching TED Talks or documentaries or comedy specials. This content is not slowed down. It uses complex cultural references. It is hard. You will miss words. You will get frustrated. But this struggle is the feeling of growth. If you are comfortable, you are not growing. You need to be a little bit uncomfortable to reach C1. Let's talk about the concept of shadowing again, but an advanced version. In the beginning, you shadowed me to learn pronunciation. Now, I want you to shadow for emotion and attitude. Find a scene in a movie where the actor is angry or sarcastic. Try to copy their attitude. If they roll their eyes, you roll your eyes. If they shout, you shout. You are not just copying the sounds, you are copying the body language and the spirit. Language is physical. When you adopt the physical posture of a native speaker, the sounds come out more naturally. I also want to warn you about the perfectionist trap. Perfectionism is the enemy of fluency. I have met students who know more grammar rules than I do. They can explain the third conditional perfectly. But when I ask them, "How was your weekend?" they freeze. They are analyzing the sentence in their head before they speak. They are checking for errors. By the time they speak, the moment is gone. You must be willing to be imperfect. Think of English like a messy sketch, not a perfect painting. When you sketch, you draw fast lines. Some are wrong, but you capture the image. When you speak, just get the idea out. If you say she go instead of she goes, the meaning is still clear. The listener understands. Do not stop. Do not apologize. Just keep driving. If you miss a turn, you do not stop the car and cry. You just take the next turn. There is a beautiful concept called lifelong learning. Many students ask me, "Alex, how long will it take to finish learning English?" The answer is, proper drivers never finish. I am a native speaker, and I am still learning English. I learn new slang from young people. I learn new technical words from technology. I learn old words from literature. The language is a living, breathing creature that is always changing. Do not look for a finish line. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the fact that you can access a whole universe of information that was closed to you before. Let's try a visualization exercise to lock this in. Close your eyes for a moment if you can. Imagine you are standing in a huge library. This library contains every book, every movie, every song, and every conversation in the English language. When you started, the door was locked. Then, you found the key. Now, the door is open. You can walk in. You can pick up any book. You can talk to anyone. You are free. This freedom is what you have earned by being the driver. Finally, I want to talk about the dip. In any long journey, there is a moment when the excitement fades and the work becomes boring. This is the dip. It usually happens after a few months. You are tired of flashcards. You are tired of listening practice. When you hit the dip, do not rely on motivation. Motivation is like the weather. It changes. Rely on habit. Habit is like the road. It is always there. If you don't feel like studying, tell yourself, I will just listen for 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. Usually, once you start, you will keep going. But give yourself permission to do the bare minimum on bad days. The only way to lose is to stop completely. A slow car still gets to the destination. A parked car goes nowhere. As we prepare to wrap up this extended session, I want you to make a pact with yourself. A pact is a serious promise. Promise yourself that you will not let fear sit in the driver's seat. Fear is a passenger. Fear can scream, you are going to make a mistake. Fear can scream, they will laugh at you. You can hear fear, but do not let fear touch the steering wheel. You say to fear, I hear you, but I am driving. You are building a new identity. You are not just someone who is learning English. You are an English speaker. Say that to yourself. I am an English speaker. It doesn't matter if you are A2 or C1. If you communicate, you are a speaker. Wear that title with pride. You have worked hard for it. Here we are. We have arrived at the final destination of our masterclass. If you look in the rearview mirror, you can see how far we have traveled together. We started as nervous passengers, unsure of the road, waiting for someone else to tell us where to go. But now, look at you. You are sitting in the driver's seat. You have your hands firmly on the wheel. You understand the map. You know how to handle the bumps, the curves, and the traffic. You have realized that this car belongs to you, and you can drive it anywhere you want. In this final session, I want to talk about what happens next. I want to talk about how you can turn your success into a legacy, and how to keep the flame of learning alive forever. There is a beautiful concept in learning called the protégé effect. This simply means that the best way to learn something is to teach it to someone else. You might think, but Alex, I am not a teacher. I am still learning. But remember, there is always someone who is a few miles behind you on the road. If you are at a B1 level, you can help an A2 student. If you are A2, you can help a beginner. When you explain a grammar rule or a vocabulary word to someone else, you have to organize it in your own brain. You have to understand it deeply. This reinforces your own knowledge. So, I challenge you to become a mentor. It does not have to be formal. Maybe you have a cousin who is struggling with English in school? Offer to practice with them for 10 minutes. Maybe you see a question in the comments section of this video. Do not just read it. Answer it. Help them. When you help others, you stop thinking about your own fear. You stop worrying about your own mistakes because you are focused on service. You become a leader. And remember, we are talking about leading your own progress. Leading others is the highest form of leading yourself. I want to tell you one final story about a student named Maria. Maria was terrified of English. She needed it for her job, but she felt sick every time she had to speak. She listened to podcasts, she studied hard, and she slowly became the driver. One day, a new employee joined her company. This new employee spoke very little English and was very scared. Maria saw herself in this new person. She walked over and said, "Do not worry, I will help you. My English is not perfect, but we can practice together." Maria became a mentor. By helping the new employee, Maria's confidence exploded. She realized that she did not need to be perfect to be useful. She just needed to be kind and willing. You can be Maria. You can be the person who opens the door for someone else. Let's talk about gratitude. Gratitude is a high-octane fuel for your life and for your English. When we focus on what we don't know, we feel poor. I don't know the subjunctive. I don't know business slang. This mindset makes you want to quit. But when you focus on what you do know, you feel rich. I know how to greet people. I know how to order food. I can understand this podcast. This mindset gives you energy. I want to integrate a final practice prompt here. It is called the gratitude loop. Every morning, before you start your car, before you look at your phone, say 3 things you are grateful for in English. Say them out loud. I am grateful for my coffee. I am grateful for the sunshine. I am grateful that I can understand English. When you start your day with English gratitude, you are wiring your brain for positivity. You are telling your brain that English is a source of joy, not stress. As we close this chapter, I want you to remember that language is not just a subject you study in school. It is not math. It is not geography. Language is the architecture of human connection. It is a bridge. When you speak English, you are building a bridge to billions of people. You are building a bridge to new ideas, new cultures, and new opportunities. You are not just memorizing words. You are expanding your soul. You are becoming a global citizen. Do not let anyone tell you that you are too old or not smart enough, or that you don't have the talent for languages. Talent is overrated. Persistence is everything. The tortoise beats the hare every single time, because the tortoise just keeps moving. You are the tortoise. You are the driver. You are the master of your fate. I want you to make a promise to me, but more importantly, to yourself. Promise that you will not stop. There will be days when you are tired. There will be days when you feel like you are going backward. On those days, be kind to yourself. Rest, but do not quit. Come back to the road the next day. Come back to this podcast. We will always be here to support you. Thank you. Thank you for trusting me with your time. Thank you for letting me be a passenger in your car for a little while. It has been the greatest honor to guide you. But now, I must get out of the car. I must stand on the sidewalk and watch you drive away. You do not need me to hold the wheel anymore. You are ready. The road is wide open. The sun is shining. The destination is wherever you want it to be. If this series has helped you, if it has changed your mindset, please do one final thing for our community. Share this with a friend who is stuck in the passenger seat. Give them the key. And please, subscribe to the channel so we can stay connected as you continue your journey. I am Alex. This is English in Fluency. You are the driver. You are the leader. You are the success story. Drive safe, dream big, and never, ever stop speaking. Goodbye, my friends.